I'm here today with my very good friend, Mark Patterson, who is the co-founder of MatlinPatterson. Mark, you've been incredibly passionate about your work, obviously your family as well. One thing I know that you absolutely love is car racing. No question about it. And there's got to be some parallels between your work and the racing. But tell us a little bit about the racing and how did that ever evolve?
Just a coincidence. We were on the Credit Suisse First Boston trading floor, and a couple of younger guys that me sort of bragged about macho sort of locker room nonsense. You know, I'll go to the Skip Barber race school if you do. And eventually 5 of us in the wintertime said we'd do it. So we went to Laguna Seca in California and to the Skip Barber Racing School. You pay $3 or $4 grand, and in 3 days they teach you an immense amount about how not to kill yourself. I thought it was magnificent. I immediately subscribed my 2 sons, who were 17 and 18 at the time, put them through the school, and collectively in 36 years of driving, they've had 1 small accident. I'm a huge believer in race technique, helping people understand what a car can do to you. Right. Respect for it, and 2, listening to what the car tells you before it wants to kill you, and getting away from that, doing the right stuff to correct it. Anyway, so that was fun, and none of them continued on. I liked it a lot, and I was okay. They actually put me on AP at Skip Barber Racing over time, and I thought that was like a really accelerated program or something, and it meant accident prone. I learned later. Right. I was too ambitious for my skill level. So what you learn is that racing is really, it's not rugby, it's not boxing, it's ballet, it's math, it's chess. Particularly endurance racing is all about being there in the 12th or the 24th hour and being interdependent with your partners, a lot like business. Yeah. And it's all about risk-taking, right? Calculated risk-taking. So you crash a lot when you learn. When you start, you fumble around and make an idiot of yourself. But over time, you learn how to do it. The surfboard works on big waves. It's a magnificent instrument, a race car.
I think Joe Perella said, he was talking about Mario Andretti, that if you go into a turn and you're not feeling like you're out of control, you're not going fast enough.
Now you're talking about one of the world's greatest drivers, but for all of us, it's called on the edge. Yeah. When they coach you and they tell you this is what the car will do, it never does that for the first day or 2, obviously, because you're not on the edge. The car is not ready to dance on this line, on this thread of uncertainty. And so you have to get comfortable not analyzing, just like in a deal. You can't analyze every fact with equal portion of attention. So you over time with judgment, you learn to pay attention to the most crucial elements coming at you. So what makes you quicker in racing appears to be that you're more courageous and taking more risk. No, you're just not paying attention to stuff that used to scare you. Yeah. And it's the same in business. You look at stuff that used to, as a kid, would drown you with volume and distortion. And after a while, you realize those things aren't really the core deal things. You get focused on stuff that really drives the deal. And the same with a race car. Look, people can make mistakes, and we individually make mistakes investing or driving a race car. But generally speaking, you can be very, very quick and essentially about to be out of control every single corner in the lap, and you'll do this beautiful lap time. It's kind of cool.
I bet it's incredibly cool. So take that and apply that to when you're looking to hire candidates, okay? Yeah. And you're looking to hire people for MatlinPatterson. What do you look for in people? What scares you from individuals?
First thing that scares me, particularly people who are not the kids starting out, is somebody who's been at a job every 2 years, 3 years, and tries to explain that by, ambition or no, there's either something wrong with them or they have no commitment. So I have no interest in the hopper. But on the positive side, particularly even the young ones, I want to see where they've suffered in their lives and how they overcame that. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for fortitude. I'm looking for an endurance capacity in the individual. We sort of take for granted that you're smart and analytical or you wouldn't be interviewing with us. But can you make decisions, not just analyze the numbers? Is your rational decision-making good, fundamentally good? Is your common sense factor high? So those are the kind of things we're looking for. Integrity, obviously, is a given, but fundamentally, you're looking for a hard work ethic, endurance, put up with the challenges of life, and ruthlessly hard-working, dig, fundamentally look at the analysis. These guys are very, very good at that.
Do you think Wall Street today is as attractive as it was when you first came here? And how do you envision it going forward? Because it's gone through a pretty tough time.
Well, it has, and you know, let's start with the premise that it'll continue to change, and in 30 years there'll be another way to look at Wall Street, and 30 years later another way again. But when I started out, it was much less regulated, obviously. I'm surprised there wasn't more crime or more abuse because it was not nearly as regulated. It paid more. It paid more cash. I'm talking about post-partnership, after the big partnerships went public. A dangerous element crept in, and that is nobody owned the risk they were taking. So no wonder there were more bankruptcies and more absurd risk-taking. Leverage was taken to an absurd level in banks and Wall Street firms. So deferred comp is definitely a part of, was my day, and it's much more today, and that's a healthy part of stabilizing people's commitment to the firm they work at, the sort of fiduciary obligation you've got. And they think longer term. Two, compliance, legal departments, oversight is almost bureaucratic today, and has to be because of the, you know, the tens of billions of fines being thrown at companies today, Wall Street companies. Some of that's deserved, some of that's not. It doesn't matter. As a CEO, you have to implement those changes. So it's become more burdensome to be in the business, but if I was a young person and had interest in finance, there's no way in the world I would go to Kalamazoo first. Right. I'd still come to New York and give one of the firms, big or mid-size, give one of the firms a real 5, 10, 15-year stretch. You're not going to have much more fun than Jefferies or Goldman Sachs, trust me.
I love it. Okay, you're talking to your old school, you're back in Africa and you're giving advice to all the students out there. What would you say? That's
a great question, and it's different in South Africa than America, because Americans are traditionally incredibly generous, lead the world in generosity. What I mainly talk to the young fellows at St. Andrews College in Grahamstown, where I went to the English boarding school, where I went to school, is to remember to give back to the school. It's not a culture down there. The billionaires give money quietly, but nobody as a general culture like in America. So I talk to them about, first off, about remembering how lucky they are and make sure you give back when you get lucky. Two, I talk about, you know, not worrying about which path you're going to start on. It's the journey. It's not, who knows at 22, 24, 28 exactly what you're going to become or do better at. So get on a good conveyor belt, get on something that's a little exciting and not quite stable. That's kind of cool. You've got to feel a degree of uncertainty, or you should work at the post office. And so I talk to them about, you know, outworking everybody around you. Yeah. That's just a must. You don't assume that the Harvard or Stanford grad doesn't have an advantage over you. They do. Yeah. So kill them.
I love it. Well, anyway, again, I'm here with Mark Patterson, co-founder of MatlinPatterson. Mark, really appreciate you taking the time. Can't thank you enough, and wish you continued great luck.
Great, Skitty. Thank you.
You bet.